How you doing? My name is Gary Flowers. I'm about to present to you my final presentation for my IDS 401 class. Um, I chose my two areas of concentration to be about coaching and psychology. I plan on playing basketball as a professional one day and then eventually becoming a coach if that's what is in store for me. I love sports, especially basketball. I play for many different people. I see how coaches are different than others, and I like to see how different coaches have different styles. This semester in school, I took sports psychology class. It was one of my favorite classes because I get to learn about the way I want to coach one day. Before this class, I never knew how much thinking was involved in sports. For my research, I looked at many articles that are related to mental toughness and sports psychology. I want to find out how the professional teams use sports psychologists to their advantage with the players. Some NBA teams have had to hire sports psychologists to help their players with mental aspects of the game. They also have them there to help with the morale and team cohesion. A sports psychologist is not cheap, so high school teams and some college teams cannot afford to have a sports psychologist come to their program and help. I have some contacts with NBA teams. I want to learn how the sports psychologists take effect on their team when they're with them. I also want to see if teams did have sports psychologists come in and if they helped or not. I would also like to talk sports psychologists with some of the more higher echelon players of the league. Players and coaches must have a mental game. That is what is so fascinating to me. I can be the best player on my team, but if I'm not mentally tough and focused, then I could get beat by anyone, even a 10-year-old kid. I have always had to work on my mental toughness, and I think that I am not the only one. I want to do some surveys in my research too. I want to see how important players think mental toughness is to their game. I want to see if players even know about sports psychology and if they think they can get help and become better players and sit through the sports psychology. I would like to do things like this because, like I said, it is something I am interested in. Psychology in sports is something that just can't be explained. It's something you have to go through. To make sure my research is accurate, I am going to interview different coaches in the NBA such as Larry Brown, Phil Jackson, Doc Rivers, and whoever else that uses sports psychologists. The coach can give me some insight on how things were before they hired a sports psychologist. Then I will ask them a series of questions about how the team has changed with the help of the sports psychologist. Last, I will sit and observe for myself and see how players interact with one another and if they are putting any thought into what they learned from the sports psychologist. If it is possible, I will try to interview someone who has a degree in sports psychology. I am fortunate to say I have two sources to rely on, Dr. Lauren Neelitz and Dr. Melissa Murray. I think it is good to interview someone who knows the field so you can know some of the tricks of the trade. And not to mention, you will be able to make sure the information you get from any sports psychologist is legit and he or she is not running you in circles. When I reach the end of my interview, I will ask the sports psychologist what he thinks the main focus was to help the team reach their maximum ability and what was it that was keeping them from getting there before he came in. After I get my questions answered by the sports psychologist and the coach, I would compare what they said and see if there is any similarities in what they think the problem was. I'm now about to talk specifically about sports psychology and some of the areas of like what it is and how it is used and why I chose it. The benefits of sports psychology for athletes is major. The mental part of the sports are looked over at, if you ask me. But if you prepare mentally just as much as you do with sports as being prepared physically, most athletes take this for granted, thinking that their physical ability will get them where they are trying to go in life. This is very beneficial to have a strong mental game, and think this passage I have printed out for you will show you just how important it is to have psychologists. A sports psychologist can be one of the best ways for a team to improve their game, even if they are all very athletic and skilled. A sports psychologist can get inside the heads of the players and get to the root of what works and what doesn't. Mind games, sports psychology for every player. If you watch any sport at its highest level, you have no choice but to see the level of competition that is being played. more and more athletes are starting to see the importance of being mentally prepared. The more an athlete thinks he can do something, the more likely it will show in his game and he will be successful at what it is he's doing. The mind is powerful. The mind is a powerful object. When you think negative about what it is you're doing, the higher the chances are that you're going to have a negative outcome. Even if you are known for hitting big shots, you have to first believe that you can do it to be able to do so. Another concentration of mine besides sports psychology was coaching. I'm about to emphasize to you about what is coaching, why I chose coaching and why it is good for me, and what type of coach would I want to be when it's all said and done for me. Coaches are mentors, father figures, and anything else you can think about in a young man's life. When you're coming up and you have no one, you go to basketball or football or any kind of sport that you choose, you got to have a coach in that sport. So to be someone's mentor is a big accomplishment in a life, and I really would appreciate having that in my life for any young kid. You know, when it's all said and done for me, I would want to be one of the best coaches who go down in history, you know, but everyone's not able, so I would take any slotted coach as long as I get to help any kid that's willing to learn and willing to try to put the effort out mentally and physically to be the greatest. You know, coaching is good for me because, like I say, I'm an athlete. I play basketball, you know, and I really would like to show the next generation what was taught to me and show them what wasn't taught to me also, you know. That's a big emphasis of mine, of showing kids the right way to do things and how important it is to learn early how to learn your craft and be mentally prepared before you go out and try to show your game. Now I'm about to emphasize to you what mental skills are. You know, mental skills can be a variety of things, like controlling your thoughts. When you're on the court, you know, you might miss a couple shots in a row. You can't tell yourself that you're going to have an off game just because of those 2 shots. You know, you have to control your thoughts and think positively the whole game. You know, you have to focus your attention. By focusing your attention on the task at hand, it makes everything more fluid. You know, everything will be in a rhythm. You don't have to worry about forcing the issue. You know, and controlling your emotions is one of the biggest keys I can think about. You know, when you're young, it's kind of hard to control your emotions and stay tuned into what's going on. You know, you kind of get strayed away from what the point is. So controlling your emotions is a major emphasis. Remember the important information. You know, if your coach has something starred on the board and it's you know, a system to get back, if you got to go rebound every time, you know, if you got to make one player go left and make one player go right, you got to know the game and remember the important information so it can help your game. You know, staying calm under stress is also a major emphasis I would like to emphasize on. Staying calm is like, you know, one of the major things you have to do. You have to stay composed. You have to keep your composure through the game. There's going to be stressful situations. There's going to be adversity. You have to keep your mind calm, keep your body calm, and remind yourself that it's going to be stressful. You know, controlling your actions is kind of like controlling your emotions. You know, you act out of your emotion. So if you control your emotion, that would eliminate controlling your actions, you know. But when you're not emotionally distraught, you can control your actions by playing harder. You can control your actions by getting your team pumped up, you know. Staying positive, that's one of the biggest things too. If you vibe with your team, staying positive has to be a key element. You know, positive thinking always leads to positive action. Now I'm about to emphasize why mental skills are important. If you have a good, strong mental skill, they can maximize your performance. Really, it can. If you're mentally tough and mentally prepared for whatever situation you're about to go in, then of course you will be more confident in yourself to go in and take care of what it is you need to take care of. Mental skills can make you less anxious during competition. Like I said, if you're focused on what it is you have to do, the task at hand, then the anxious and being overhyped would take care of itself. You'll go in thinking exactly what it is you need to do and not trying to do more than that. You can improve your mental skills through practice, just like you can improve your athletic skills. Yes, if you sit and think every night that I'm going to make every free throw that I shoot, and you emphasize on that in your brain, and over tell yourself that you can shoot the free throw, and you see yourself making the free throw, then of course when you get to the line, if you repeat that same routine, you will make your free throws.
Go ahead.
Sports is 90% mental and 10% physical. This is a problem with most athletes that they do not know yet. If you can think the game out more than you can play the game out, then you will have a better outcome. I'm about to emphasize on how arousal and how does it affect performance. If arousal is too high, it can lower performance. Example, if you are too hyped up for a game, you can play badly because you are too excited. You can shoot the ball over the rim, you can run past steals that you should have gotten, anything. If arousal is too low, it can lower performance. Example, if you play a team that you beat 75-25 in the last game, and you take them lightly, then next time you can play them, it might be a loss. You have to play to your level. You can't play to the level of competition. Coaches have to make sure that players are hyped up for a competition but not overly excited. You have to keep it even keel. I'm about to emphasize what it is to be aroused and when it is important to be aroused and at what level. Be most aroused during times of high activity. Example, when a batter is up to the bat and a runner is trying to steal, the adrenaline, of course, is going to shoot through your body and make you make the play. Be less aroused during times of pause, between innings in baseball, timeouts in basketballs, doing changeovers in tennis, focus. Focus activity is really large when you're trying to do that. In my research, I spent time with John Lucas to see how he incorporates sports psychology into his program. I read numerous articles online about how coaches use sports psychology in their coaching. I learned the most through reading the following articles. Like I said, these are some of the articles that I went online and I looked at to do some of my research. That's one page, and my second page of my articles that I looked up online. I really enjoyed this class this year. I hope you enjoyed me, and I hope all goes well. Have great holidays. Thanks.